Let's learn a lesson from Berry's Vivek Publishers book. We are going to start now the English of the semester 2 first lesson. My house is haunted 1. For several days, Miss Rottenmeier has been wandering silently around the house. When after she went from room to room or along the corridor, she would often look back as if she was afraid that someone was following her. This means for some days Miss Rottenmeier had been wondering, was been thinking silently around the house. When she want to go some rooms, one to room to other room, she or the other corridor, she would often been afraid because somebody was following her. She thinks that somebody is following her. If she had to go to the upper floor or the lower floors, she always asked someone to come along. The strange thing that was even the servants did not dare to go anywhere along the ask to each other's company. If she want to go upper floors or the lower floors, she want to ask her relatives or servants to come along her. But the strange thing was happening. They also don't want to come. They were also afraid and ask other relation or the other servants company. Something strange was happening in the house. In the morning, when the servants came downstairs, they always found the front door wide open. At the at first, everybody thought that the house was robbed, but nothing was ever missing. The door was doubly locked at night, but it was not good. The door stood open at the next morning. Means something strange was happening in the house of Miss Rottenmeier. In the morning, when the servants came downstairs to open the door, but the door was open wide, but everyone thought that the thieves came and robbed the house. But nothing was missing or nothing was robbing. But then also the door was doubly locked, means two of the locks were locked in the night. But again and the next morning the door was open. At the last, the John, one of the servant, and the butler Sebastian gathered the courage to sit up all night to see who was the ghost. They went to a room downstairs and waited. At first they talked, but soon getting sleepy, they leaned back and fell asleep in their chairs. When the clock from the old church took one, they woke up. Together they went out into the hall and strong wind put out the light that John held. John held in his hand. In the last, John and the butler Sebastian gathered and sit up to courage. Means there was the John and Sebastian want to sit all the night and see who was the ghost. They went to a room downstairs and waited at the till the night. But in that stairs, they were talking. But they were sleepy and slept. They learned back asleep in the chairs only. But when in the old church, the clock took one, because of the sound, they woke up. They slowly went into the hall. A strong wind put out, means a strong wind came, and the light was there in the servant's name John. It put out. When and okay, now this page's meanings. Let's see. Wandering. Wandering means roaming, and butler means this butler Sebastian means the headmaster of all the servants. Headmaster of all the servants. Okay, and they think to sit up all the night, right? That means sit up. Stay awake all the night, it means. Put out means something was burning, like the candles in John's hand, but it put out and something to stop burning. Now let's continue. Rushing back, he pulled Sebastian into the room and locked the door quickly. When he lit the light again, Sebastian noticed that John was pale with fear. When the light was gone, the John see there is no light. So he pulled Sebastian, the head of the butler. He pulled in the same room and locked the door. And he took matchsticks and again light up the candles. And after that, Sebastian saw that uh, John with failed with fear means he had lots of fear in his face. Sebastian asked anxiously, "What is the matter? What did you see?" Means the Sebastian butler asked John, "What did you see? What is the matter?" "The door was open," gasped John, "and a white fog was on the stairs. It went up and was gone in a moment." Meant John was telling that the door was open as usual, but the white fog on the stairs was there and was gone in a moment. Means it was just disappeared. Cold shivers ran down Sebastian's back. They both sat without moving till dawn. In the morning, they reported the matter to Miss Rottenmeier, and she immediately sat down to write Mr. Seaman. Cold shivers ran down Sebastian's back means not a cold shiver go back of him means he was shivered and with cold it was so cold outside, right? Means they two both was sat inside without moving, and after the morning came or the dawn came in the morning they reported to means they tell what happened in the Miss Rottenmeier, and she immediately sat down to write Mr. Seaman. What she sat down to write? She sat down to write a letter. And who is Mr. Seaman? Mr. Seaman is the head of the house. Mr. Seaman replied to her letter, saying he could not leave his business at the moment. Clara, on hearing the scary story, explained that she would not stay alone other moment and she wished that her father to come home immediately. Heidi, who did not know what ghosts were, was perfectly unaffected. And Seaman replied to her letter, which Miss Rottenmeier returned, and she told that I could not come to the house again because there is business at the moment. But after the story was listened by Clara, she was hiding near the door and listening the story. And after that scary story heard by Clara, the daughter of the house, she told to Miss Rottenmeier that I will not stay alone in this house anymore. I would that father would come immediately into the house. Heidi, who do not know what a ghost, were perfectly unaffected. Heidi, the other girl in the house, was also not affected. She was not living in that, but she was in the family relation. She was in Alps and she don't know what a ghost only, and she was unaffected of the ghost because she don't know. Another letter was sent to Miss Sisman informing him that the excitement of the incidents take place in house might have serious effects on Clara's health. Again, Miss Rottenmeier written a letter to Seaman that informing him that excitement of incidents that take place might serious effects on Clara's health. She can get unwell and get a fever because of that uh, ghost. This brought back Mr. Sisman home immediately. He patiently listened to the entire story which John and Sebastian told to Miss Rottenmeier. Mr. Seaman was aware of the fact that Miss Rottenmeier and Sebastian did not like each other. So he had an idea about who the ghost might be. So he called Sebastian, asked, "Come here, Sebastian, and tell me honestly. Did you play the ghost to scare Mr. Rottenmeier?" Means again writing the other letter means Mr. Rottenmeier written that Clara's health could be unwell because of the serious effects. Then Miss Rottenmeier came immediately. He patiently listened to entire the story and thought that Mrs. Rottenmeier and Sebastian did not like each other, so Sebastian had played a role of ghost and tried to scare Mr. Rottenmeier. And Miss Seaman told, "No, sir," Sebastian told. "No, sir, you must not think that. It was me," replied Sebastian honestly. "You ought to be ashamed to yourself, a strong man like you, to run away from a ghost. How? Now go at once to my old friend Dr. Classen and tell him to come to me at 9 o'clock tonight." When Seaman told that I had did not that, I would be honestly think that I am not do that. But Sebastian replied honestly means he had not played that ghost role. And he told, "You are ashamed of yourself," means he have to not do that, because a strong man like Sebastian would not run away from the ghost. And Seaman told, "Now go at once to my old friend Dr. Classen and tell him to come to me at night tonight 9 o'clock." Now see, who is Dr. Classen? Dr. Classen is the old friend of Seaman. Tell him that I came from Paris especially to consult him. I want him to sit up all night with me. Do you understand me, Sebastian? And he told that I have came Paris especially from Paris to meet him. And he told, "Can you understand, Sebastian?" And Seaman told, Sebastian told, "I shall do as you say, Mr. Seaman." Punctually at 9 o'clock, the doctor arrived. When he saw his friend, he laughed and said, "Well, well, well, you would look pretty healthy for someone who needs to be watched all night." Means he punctually came at the 9 o'clock and told to Sebastian that you are pretty healthy and you don't need any medical issues. And why you need to be watched all the night? "Have patience, my old friend," replied Mr. Seaman. He told, "Have patience. Let me tell. I am afraid the person we have to sit up for will look worst, but first we must catch him." Means they are telling to we need to catch someone who look worst. "What? Is someone sick in this house? What do you mean?" told Klassen. "Far worse, doctor. Far worse. My house is haunted." Means you're thinking telling that it is so bad. It is so bad. My house is haunted. When the doctor laughed, Mr. Seaman told him how the front door was opened every night by someone. He said that the matter was either a bad joke which somebody was playing in the absence of my family, or it was a gang of thieves who, after scaring the people, would surely rob this house one day. Thus, Mr. Seaman and the doctor prepared themselves to catch the ghost at night with two candelabras and two revolvers ready for emergencies. When the doctor laughed, he told that it was a bad joke or the gang of thieves would rob this house and told that and rob this house and go away. So as the thieves are a ghost, they took two candelebrums and two revolvers. Now, what is candelabrum? Candelabrum is a stick to hold many candles. For emergencies, they took revolver also. The the two sat in the same room in which John and Sebastian had stayed up. They left the door open partly open because too much light might drive the ghost away. Then sitting down comfortably, the two men passed their time by talking all sorts of things. They sat in the same room which the two servants and the butler sat. He stayed up means he was living means they were staying there, and they put the door of the main door partially open because more light can drive the door, means the ghost will go away because every they will think that I am there and it will go away. And they have sit and they were talking till 1 o'clock. The ghost seems to be scented us and probably won't come today, said the doctor. Hence, he has shown us and will not come probably today. And Cheeseman told, wait a bit, it is usually does not appear before 1 o'clock, replied his friend. So they talked until 1 o'clock. Everything was quiet and not a sound came from the house or the street. Suddenly, the doctor raised his finger. Shh, Cheeseman, do you hear that? Continued in the next chapter. In the next video, we are going to do the exercises of this chapter, and after that, we are going to study My House is Haunted too. Till that time, subscribe my channel and like, share this video so I can make another video. Bye. Thank you.